Once again, you all are welcome to your own channel, Geography for Success. Children, a few more terms are left to be discussed with you all from the board's point of view. One such term is the causeway, right? Causeway. Causeway is most commonly asked, one of the such terms which are most commonly asked by in the exams, right? Causeway. What is a causeway now? It is a raised metalled road. Try to understand. It is a raised metal road, not a bridge. You can see here. It is not a bridge. It is a raised metal road. Generally, it is constructed over a stream or a river, right? The symbol of it, you can see whenever it is shown in the topographical sheet. Just keep one thing in mind. It is always shown with the help of the name is always written, okay? Causeway is mentioned there. But how to identify which is the point where causeway is there? Always think of it where the causeway word is mentioned. There's very close to it. Any road is actually intersected by a canal or any river, right? Seasonal river. So in this way, when it is present, that is actually causeway. This is a point where we can say it's a causeway. Always you have to take, suppose anytime if the distance it comes to measure the distance between the two causeways, which point you are going to take, not the word you have to consider there, right? You have to just take that point where the river is intersecting any of the metalled roads, okay, or the car tracks. Clear? Generally it is on the metalled road only, right? Now let's see another example of it. You can see this one now, right? I think by this it is very clear to you all. Again one example, right? So this is called a causeway. Now come to next one, that is perennial tank. Whenever any tank is filled with water throughout the year, it is called as perennial tank. Okay, this is the symbol of a perennial tank. You can see here right side at the top, perennial tank. Always it is colored by blue. If it is colored by blue, it is a perennial tank. If it is dotted, right, black dots are there, that shows a seasonal tank. You can see the next one, seasonal or dry tank. It is a dry tank. Okay, the symbol of dry tank. And what is a dry tank? You can see here. During very hot and dry conditions, the tank gets dry. Okay, water gets evaporated and it gets totally dry. This is another example of dry tank. Okay, so you can see the two differences between the two type of tanks. Now another one more symbol has been added this time, children, in this latest topo sheet what we have got, that is the tower, right? This is a symbol of a tower. Okay, this is a symbol of a tower, and in this you will find whenever this symbol is there, if the question comes what is the main means of communication, you can easily mention that the mobile is the means of communication. One of the means of communication, you can say. What is the evidence for it? You can say mobile tower is already present there. Okay, this is the symbol of it. Clear now? Then come to next one. Next is actually the rock outcrop. Okay, when due to erosion and weathering, especially at one place, earlier it was covered by suppose the soil and all. Now it has actually just one rock is visible over the surface, right? Due to basically the weathering work. This type of rock which juts out from the main, you can say from the surface, this is actually called as a rock outcrop, right? Rock outcrop. Another example of it you can see here. This is another example of rock outcrop. Okay, earlier it was covered by the soil and all, but now by weathering or by erosion, now in a vast area you will find just a few rocks are visible, right? Separately these are present there. It juts out from the main rock. Now it is due to weathering and always the very extreme hot conditions and all. right? It can be exfoliation or it can be other types of weathering. Okay, this is called rock outcrop. Next one is another example of it. Rock outcrop is there, you can see. Okay, it's a part of submerged rock seen above the ground. Earlier it was submerged under water, now it is visible over the surface. Okay, this is another example of it, right? Okay, now come to another part of it where you will find several symbols like it's written there in the topo sheets only. You can see a small part of the topo sheet has been shown here. Over that you will find the name, it is in words, it is mentioned, a stone quarry, right? Stone quarry. Now what is it? Stone quarry, you can see here in the topo sheet also it's shown. What is it? It is something related with the occupation, right? Its economic importance is there in this case. What is a stone quarry now? Especially you should understand better, children. Now when we are talking about mining, okay, two terms are there, mining and quarrying. Now what is mining? Mining is whenever we dig out in search of some minerals, that is called mining, one of the economic activities, right? But when we dig out in search of some important rocks, okay, like marble, limestone, granite, when we dig out in search of these rocks, that work is called as quarry, Quarry. So here it is mentioned this only, a stone quarry means there this work is going on, this work is important, right? You can see another example of it. This is done for the limestone, okay, a stone quarry, and it is basically, why it is mentioned here, because it is one of the economic activities for the people living in those areas. Okay, then come to stone grit. Stone grit is actually, it's not so important, but yes, you should understand, stones obtained from the stone quarry are crushed to small pieces, right? And what is the use of it, especially in the construction of roads and all, right? For the construction purposes, these small pieces are required. So that is called the stone grit. Again, a part of the quarry only, right? You can see the use of it. Then come to the next one, that is permanent hut. Permanent hut is basically any of the settlement, any of the houses which are built permanent. But when the symbol, when the block is colored fully by red, that is permanent hut. But when it is just outline is present, that is actually temporary hut. Okay, clear now? Fine. Now let's talk about one very important thing again. Surveyed tree at an altitude of 321 meters, right? What is the symbol of it? Let me show you here. In this one, if you can see the right side, okay, the first thing which is mentioned here is that of the surveyed tree, right? You can see here in this part of the topo sheet which is shown here, one small tree, black colored tree, not the green colored tree. Keep this in mind, children. Black colored tree, and along the tree it is mentioned 265. So what is 265 now? 265 is the height of any other thing which is close to it, or this tree, or it is relative height, or any other thing. It cannot be relative height or relative depth because it is no R is mentioned along with it. Okay, when it is closed to any black colored tree, okay, always children, the trees which are shown in the topo sheets are green colored. Clear? The same symbol, it should be by green color. But when in certain cases you will find the same symbol is used but it is of black color, that means it is a surveyed tree. Clear? And when along with the surveyed tree a number is mentioned, 265, 260, 220. So what is that? It is the altitude of that point where the tree is there. It is the altitude of that point from the mean sea level. So what does this indicate? It indicates a surveyed tree with a altitude of that point is 265 meters above the mean sea level. Okay, it is not showing the height of the tree. Is this clear to you? Now come to this picture which I was showing you. In this way generally, because for surveying many times it happens that the tree is also taken as a point for survey, right? So when we see this type of thing, 321, now what is it? Actually it is not showing the height of the tree, it is showing about it indicates the height of that point where the tree is standing. That point, that place is at 321 meters above the mean sea level. This is a triangulated height, right? The left side you can see triangulated height, triangulated station is shown with the help of this, right? It is always a better way to show the height. And another one generally used in this case is the benchmark. Always over any structure, this type of thing you will find, BM 2026, right? So this is called the benchmark height, right? Now come to the next thing, that is, this is a well, it is a perennial well, okay, a perennial well. Now how it is shown in the topo sheet? It is always shown by a blue dot. Can you see this? Right side, a number of blue dots are there, right? This shows a perennial well, okay, perennial lined well, right? Lined well is what? Lined well means it is always cemented, right? And when it is unlined well, you can see the difference. Unlined well is not having any cemented structure, okay, it is simply dug out and for water. And whenever it is shown by a symbol like this, just an outline, okay, one outline by blue color, and this is indicating a seasonal well, right? Not an unlined well, you can say, or a seasonal well, right? It is one thing is that seasonal means it is providing water only during certain period of time, right? Especially during rainy season, what happens when the water is absorbed a lot, right? Water seeps down inside, so you can say temporary water table develops there, and that provides water to this well, okay. Moreover, it is unlined because it is not cemented, okay. Two things are coming out of it. Clear now? So this is unlined and seasonal well. Another example of it is a salty well water, right? It is generally mentioned. Suppose one symbol has been shown to you. You can see here on the right side again, children. There is a symbol of well, right? But along with the well, in bracket, it has to be mentioned. Whenever it is there in the topo sheet, it is telling us about the salty water. That is always written in this way, brackish. What is the meaning of brackish now? The perennial well is there, but this well is not providing a fresh water. Okay, so it is rarely used by the people. Generally, it is providing salty water, so it is not of that much use for the people. Okay, neither for irrigation nor for our daily activities. Okay, so this is the salty water. Right? Now disappearing drainage pattern. Let me show you a picture of it. You can see at several places it happens many times that the stream is flowing, okay, and all of a sudden it gets vanished, right? That means where does it go? It is actually absorbed inside, it seeps inside, right? So that is actually called as, this type of thing is called as disappearing stream, okay. Disappearing stream is generally shown in the map with the help of broken lines, okay, that shows a disappearing stream. And whenever there is this type of channel, right, a narrow channel of water is shown in the stream, that is actually a, you can say, perennial flow of water channel in the seasonal stream. But one more thing you should notice here, children, that is again very important term generally asked in the exam. That is broken ground. You can see the example of broken ground, right? You can see along the flow of water on both the sides, this type of thing develops. Broken ground. This is broken ground. Now, how it is shown in the topo sheet? You can see here, it's a very common symbol, right? And always near the stream or any water body, you will find this type of thing. Whenever the area gets a seasonal rainfall, this is one of the evidences to prove that the area gets a seasonal rainfall. Okay, broken ground is one of the evidences, right? Because, and one more thing you should know here, how does it develop? During one season, it is underwater, the land is underwater, that is waterlogging is there, or it is totally submerged underwater. When again, the rainy season has gone and now it's a dry season, again the water starts evaporating, and this is the condition, right? So it's a, you can say, seasonal water, you can say the seasonal rainfall which is present there. It covers the soil, and after that again during a dry season it is without any water cover. So it develops into this type of thing, right? This is called broken ground. Several cracks develop over the surface. Okay, children. Now this has been shown in the topo sheet. Wherever you find this type of symbol, right, keep this in mind. Always it is shown near the seasonal streams or any of such areas where the rainfall received is seasonal. Okay, this is broken ground. Now come to the next one. It is an example of dry riverbed, right? Whenever the river is shown by simple small black dots, that indicates this type of thing, right? The river is not visible there. Only it is visible during the rainy season again. Clear? So it is a dry riverbed, right? Now come to the next one. Next is a water channel. Water channel which is actually passing through a comparatively drier area, or you can say a seasonal stream with a perennial flow of water channel, right? And it is shown in this manner. You can see here the river is shown by black dots and an island also, but one narrow part of one blue line has been shown. This is actually a water channel, perennial water channel. Okay, children. Another example of perennial water channel can be seen here. Its entire part is the course of river, right? And out of that entire part, you can see during the rest of the period when the rains are very less, the flow of water can be seen in this manner. Okay, but it's a perennial water channel. It actually continues like this throughout the year. And the symbol for this you can easily see here, right? The seasonal stream and one thin line, blue line is crossing through that part. That is a perennial flow of water channel. You can see in this one again, right? Now come to the next one, children. Next is children, perennial tank with embankment. Okay, now what is this perennial tank with embankment? You can see here very clearly there is a tank right in front of you, and with embankment means artificially it has been made along the sides of it, and this is the symbol of embankment. Perennial tank and embankment. When it is mentioned 4R, that means it is showing the height, relative height of the embankment is 4 meters. Okay, so this is the symbol of perennial tank with embankment, and the example of the perennial tank you can see in front of you. Clear? Now come to next one. Again, one more example of perennial tank, right? This is a dry tank. Clear? Now something again which is important for you, annual fair. At several places in the topo sheet you will find it is this type of thing written there, annual fair. In bracket maybe it is mentioned any month or just the annual fair, right? So what is it actually? Annual fair is just like a small mela, right? And whenever the month is mentioned, that means it is during that month, right? Annual fair is always there in the month of August at this particular place. Clear now? And what is annual fair? You can see here this thing, right? So what is it now? Why it is so important? Because of the social activities. Okay, this becomes important for the social activities. Then here again one more is mentioned, annual fair. In the second picture of the topo sheet you can see annual fair in Feb, right? So this means there is a small temple shown there, and very close to it, it is mentioned annual fair. That means always in the month of February the annual fair can be seen there. Okay, now the importance of it you can see here. It is a place of social activity, trade, entertainment. People gather here for, at several times you'll find it is related with some of the festivals, or any of the puja is there, right? Then you will find this type of thing. Okay, so whenever it is related with any puja or any such important festival, most of the time you'll find it is very close to any of the temples and all, right? So it is this annual fair. Now come to another very important part of it, that is fire line. Okay, within the forested area, whenever you will find this type of thing, right? This is actually a fire line. Clear, children? Now what is a fire line? Why it is so important? Basically, children, you know, it is made in the deciduous forests. Can you tell me any reason for that? You know what is there in the case of deciduous forests, or in general in all the forested area it is done, but most important it is done in the deciduous forest area. Why? Because you know, to stop the fire, right? Many times it happens that the forest actually, when there is no such gap is there, whenever there is any case of forest fire, right, it spreads very fast in the entire forest area. Okay, so to stop that fire within one part of the forest, what is done is a patch of land is made clear for that purpose, right, to stop the spread of fire any further. Okay, and generally this type of the patch of land which is left without any tree or without any leaf and all, always it is cleared, right? Regularly it is cleared for this purpose only, right? And maybe it can be 5 meters or it can be more than that, right? You can see the use of it, right? On one side of this forested area the fire is there, but on the other side it is not there because it has been cleared, right? A clear patch has been made to prevent the fire to spread in the rest of the forest area. Okay, you can see the use of it. And in the topo sheets you will find this type of symbols are shown, right? This type of symbol, this is called fire line. Here you can see the use of it. There is a narrow patch of land is there, right, which actually keeps the fire on one side. It doesn't allow the fire to spread on the other side of it. Now come to the next one more term is there, covered tank, then lime kiln, brick kiln, right? Now what is actually lime kiln and brick kiln? Generally you must have heard about the eat ke bhatte, right? It's a common thing, you must have heard about it. What is it actually? This type of work is done in those areas. Brick kiln, right? Eat ke bhatte beta, that is also called as brick kiln, right? KILN. Same way, if it is done for the limestone, that is called as the lime kiln, right? You can see at several places this type of symbol is there, and it is along with this symbol it is written brick. That means it is indicating the brick kiln, right? This type of thing. So it is again something related with the occupation of the people in that area, right? Another example of lime kiln is there. Okay, now what is actually the lime quarry, right? Limestone quarry is there, and along with limestone quarry, marble quarry. These are what? These are actually the very important rocks which we need for the various construction purpose and all, right? Economic importance is too much. So these are actually dug out in those areas very carefully, and that is called as quarry. Okay, these are various structures, architectural examples you can say, which are constructed by the marble, right? Taj Mahal and all these. Now come to the limestone quarry. Now what is limestone quarry? Again the same thing which I have mentioned just now. Whenever the digging out is done to get the limestone out of it, that is a limestone quarry. Okay, limestone kiln. Lime kiln is having this symbol. In the topo sheet you will find this symbol is shown, and along with this you will find lime is written. Okay, lime or limestone. So this is actually, you can say, a lime kiln where the work is done related with the limestone. Okay, then come to the next one. Now drainage patterns, just a few examples I want to show you here, right? So that you will be more clear, because this I have already explained, but you can see number one drainage pattern which is shown here, right, is actually the different parts are shown in this case, right? One is the disappearing stream. Okay, number two is radial drainage pattern. Number three is undefined drainage pattern. Number four is the dendritic drainage pattern, and number five is the disappearing drainage pattern. Okay, now let's see what are the how it is visible over the surface, right, or in the topo sheet, how you can identify this. Okay, number one is disappearing drainage pattern. You can see here, children, the stream has been shown, right, and after some time small dash are given, that is broken lines are continuing here. It shows a broken line, shows a disappearing stream, right? This is number one. Number two is the radial drainage pattern. From any of the higher, you can say any conical hill or any highland, when the river flows, right, the streams flow in different directions, right? When the streams flow in different directions, that is called as a radial pattern. That is called a radial pattern of drainage, right? And when we are talking about the dendritic pattern, what is dendritic pattern now? Dendritic pattern, you can see here, number 4, this one, when it seems somewhat like the branches of tree. Okay, it is number 4. Here also several streams are coming together and they are joining one stream. This is forming a dendritic pattern. Okay, and what is disappearing stream? Is this clear to you now? This is disappearing stream. Then this is disappearing stream. Can you see this? Yes, broken lines are shown. This is disappearing stream. Now what is trellised drainage pattern? Again, trellised drainage pattern, another example of drainage pattern, you can say. It is generally when the streams are joined by several small tributaries in almost right angle, okay, or these are parallel, almost parallel to each other. That forms a trellised pattern, and here you can see a trellised pattern is formed. Okay, this is a part where you will find the trellised pattern of drainage can be seen. Clear now? Then another example of trellised pattern you can see here. Yes, can you identify this? This is a stream, right? This is a stream and several small tributaries are joining, and somewhat they are joining parallel to each other, right? With the main stream, they all are joining, and all these streams are somewhat parallel. That's why these are called trellised drainage pattern. Okay, in the topo sheet, how to identify this one? The first one, if you can see here, the first one is again somewhat like branches, na? And it is joining one main stream. So it is dendritic drainage pattern, the first, right? Second one, trellised. You can see the example here. One stream is there and several small streams are joining it. So this is trellised drainage pattern. Clear now? Then come to next example of it, radial drainage pattern. How does it actually develop, right, in any area? You can see here, all these are shown here. These are higher landforms, okay, any of the ridges or any conical hill. Clear? Now whenever the rivers are originating from that highland, they flow in different directions. Okay, you can see here they are taking different directions, and when this type of formation is there, it results into a drainage pattern which has got a radial shape. Okay, the pattern is radial. Okay, in the topo sheet this type, or the other example of radial pattern you can see here. Clear now? So this is called radial drainage pattern. This type of thing develops, right? From any of the hills or any highland, the rivers flow in different directions. Okay children, these are the examples of it, right? Then after this come to another one important thing, that is intermittent or disappearing stream. You can see for some time it is flowing and all of a sudden the stream gets vanished, and this is basically because it has got submerged, it has got actually absorbed by the soil, right? It seeps down inside, and when it seeps down inside, it is actually not visible on the surface. But after that, again, when any hard rock comes in its way, again it comes up on the surface. So it develops into this type of pattern, right? That's why this symbol is there for the intermittent, or you can say disappearing streams. Clear? And these are the examples of broken ground. So children, now all these symbols I have explained you, right? And most of these symbols are, I think, very clear to you all, right? And now in the next part of our session, we are going to discuss a few MCQs related with the topo sheet, and along with that we are going to try with the interpretation of the topo sheets. Okay.